Hello and welcome. My name's Kim Fee and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in the UK. Today I'd like to share with you a card I made for a blog challenge, global design project. This is the card, and the challenge this week that runs throughout the Christmas period is to case one of their designers, Kirsten Kress I think it is. And she made a card that she'd done blended colours this side and die cuts this side, and it was a Christmas one. But I wanted to use new product from the January to June catalogue, otherwise known as the Spring Catalogue 2021. So these are the new papers. So they're black and white. You've got a couple of stripes, there's lots of flowers, and there's polka dots. So I wanted to use these ones, and this is my second sheet. You get two of each sheet, 12 by 12, and it's nearly all gone. That's all I've got left to use. So shall I get started? First of all, I've cut out the flowers that were left. I'm going to be careful around that way because that was the only one there. I did A4 sheet, cut in half vertically and then horizontally scored in half again. So it's 10.5 centimetres and 14.8 centimetres scoring. This piece of card is 8 centimetres by 12 centimetres, and then we just want a little strip to go just there. So I'll cut that now. You only need probably about half a centimetre because you're only going to be using a little bit. This is one of the other papers, so it's got flowers on one side and diagonal stripes. I love it on the other. So let's just make sure that's like that. And that will just go there. It might be a bit too thin, but you know, that'll do for now. Okay, so I want to start with this piece first. So we're going to bring in the new blending brushes, lovely brushes. They've got a beveled edge so that you get a nice blend on there, and some grey granite. Okay, so I have to make sure I don't move the table too much. Let's get a piece of laminated card. You can see this is where I made the other card. I'm starting off there first and then coming down because I don't want a big glob and going up. Always start off the page first. We're not going to go too dark, but we do want it dark enough to show that we're going to be putting some white frost paint on, some little splatters. See, that's where I went straight on and didn't blend it, and I've got it on my fingers as well, so just be careful that you don't get on your fingers. It's not going to matter for the moment because it will be covered by the flowers. Okay, so put that to one side. Now I'm going to bring in the Frost White shimmer paint to give it a good shape for the ball bearing to loosen all the bits and pieces. And I'm going to use an old Wink of Stella brush. I'm going to just tip it into some water just to loosen the paint a little bit to help me flick the paint. So I'm just going to take it from the lid. You don't need to tip it out. where you've shook it, you can just go from the lid straight in and just flick away in the lid. I'm not sure if you can see it too much. That's it. When it dries, I think you'll be able to see it a little bit more. Excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. Just bring it up a little bit. Might be able to see that there. And then I'm going to, I've got some balmy blue on here already, and I'm going to use Winker Stella that has some fluid in it already. I'm just going to mush that around, and I just want to flick just very gently, just little bits of blue, not too much though, just some tiny bits. Shouldn't do that on my hand, but there you go. Okay, so I'm going to put that to one side because I want that to dry. So I have a radiator behind me and it will dry okay on there. We'll put those to one side. Now I want to bring in my flowers, and I'm going to be using the Stampin' blends. I'm going to be using grey granite for the leaves, and I'm going to be using soft sea foam and balmy blue. So that one's dark. I want the light colour soft sea foam. So there we go. So soft sea foam, balmy blue light, balmy blue dark, dark light. Okay, so I'm not particular in how I blend. I don't profess to be a professional, but it works for me, and I just do it in a swirling motion. I don't cover all of it either. I like to leave white bits, a bit like watercolouring. When you do watercolouring, you leave little white bits, and as you can see, quite quickly. Then I'm going to bring in the light balmy blue, and I'm just going to go where the shading is, and you'll get to see where that is, where those black lines are there. Sometimes I'm doing circular motions, and sometimes I'm just doing a little stroking, just purely because I don't want it to be covering everywhere if there's only just a little space to work with. Like that. Okay, so then I'm going to bring in the dark balmy blue. I'm just going to go in there. Again, just gently round. Just in the shaded areas where it would be darker when the sun's not on their flower. Then I'm going to come back with my Seaside Spray light, and I'm just going to circular motion over the darker bits. I don't want to cover too much of the white, but I'm quite happy with that. That's it. It's quite pretty just on its own, I suppose, with the Seaside Spray. You could use the darker one, and so you just used one lot of blue. It's however you want your flower to look, the definition that you want in your flower. I'm just kind of scribbling really all around. Very easy to use. Just be softly touching the paper with your brush so that you don't squash the tip. So now I'm going to be using the darker balmy blue in the just the same as before in those shaded bits. Not too much. Then bring back in the seaside spray. I keep wanting to call it soft sea foam. I don't know why, because that's more green than it is blue. There we go, I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to bring in the grey for the leaves. I know we don't in general have grey leaves, but I just quite liked them on the tone effect that we had. I think what I will do, in general I go light then dark then light, but I think what I'll do is just going to go up the spine of each leaf with my dark grey granite. Gently, and then come back in with the light and go over so I can blend it all together. Because I don't want to do three layers, I just want one layer really. And this one I didn't go that's it, that'll do. That's my colouring done. So very, very quick. I think the longest bit it will take is cutting out the flowers, but I didn't want to do all of this before. I wanted to show you how I arrived at the colouring stage, especially for new crafters that come along and join. If you enjoy the videos that I'm making, please do hit the subscribe button. It's just down below, I think on the right hand side, and click the bell and you get notifications when I do my videos. All of these videos will have blog posts attached to them, so that will be in the description piece below as well. I can't put a link to these products, the papers or the blending brushes yet, because the catalogue doesn't go live until the 5th of January. But I will make sure that I'll come back and pop those links on if you're watching after January the 5th, 2021. So when I'm cutting, I'm just leaving a small border of white so that it pops nicely against the piece that I've blended. There's not much to this card, to be honest with you. It looks like there's lots going on, but it's a super, super quick card. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in back my blended piece, which it has dried perfectly. I'm going to pop my piece of Designer Series paper from the same paper stack, which is called, oh gosh, look at that. It's called True Love Designer Series paper. This is coming out quite a bit. Maybe I shook it too much, I think. You just want a small strip down. I'm going to take a little bit of that off, I think, with a bit of this, because I don't want it glooping over the back. There we go. Keep that straight on the grid paper. as best you can. Let that dry a little bit. So it's not sticking on there. And we'll use the sticky fixers because I'm going to layer these up. There we go. In general, with my flowers, I normally screw them up so that they have more definition, but I'm not going to do that with these ones today. So we want one going up there like that. And then the other one's going to go opposite down below. So that's going to cover my little faux pas there where I had ink on my finger. That's going to go just straight over there. Okay, so now we want to do a sentiment, and I've used birthday wishes on my date block. Birthday wishes from the Itty Bitty Birthday stamp set. I use this quite often, and I'm going to use on some black card. I'm going to ink up with Versamark, and let's have a look. Yeah, that will do. I'm going to ink up with Versamark and use white embossing powder. So I'm going to use my embossing buddy, so it stops all the static staying on there. I don't want stray embossing powder. Let's make sure that I've got the heat gun plugged in, which I should have done before I come on. Sorry about that. There we go. So now a bit of Versamark, which is clear ink for those that haven't. I wouldn't worry about that getting dirty, to be honest with you. It doesn't show up in anything that you do. So all is good there. Try and get this straight without getting my head in the camera. I always decant mine out into a big pot. I'm just going to slide it in there. There we go. Bring in my heat gun so there'll be a slight bit of noise. And I'm going to do it from underneath. I like doing it from underneath because then I can see what's going on and that I'm not burning it too high. So just keeping it about maybe 2 inches away. And then you can see where it hits. As soon as it turns brilliant white, then you just move along. You either move your heat gun or you move your card that you're doing it. And then quickly over the top, not even a second. Let that dry a bit. Just don't want to put it in the cutter while it's still hot because it will just melt onto the cutter and you'll ruin your piece. Not so much the cutter, but you'll ruin the piece that you've just stamped. Okay, so I'm just going to trim slightly. There we go. Just going to trim up piece there. Now, because the flowers are up, this is going to lay over there like that. So I'm just going to put one dimensional on by this piece here. And then I'm going to pop a bit of glue on. Still coming out quickly. Okay, so that is going to go just about there. And then normally I put my choice of bling is the rhinestones, but I really am taken with these woven thread sequins. I will be sad when they go in July. Okay, so I'm going to use my picky tool and put one there. I just want a middle sized blue that will go there. It's fallen off. Sometimes it's best to just decant them into there and you'll get the one that you want quicker. That there, and then I want a kind of whitish bluish one. That little one there, I think that will do. Okay, now we've just got to get the glue not coming out too fast. I think what I might do is get my little tweezers and take the sequin to the glue, because I don't want it to go everywhere. Rather than a dab of glue onto your card you've just made and it going everywhere and it's ruined. That's it. It dries clear. It's like a little volcano. It still wants to all come out. I must have an air pocket in there somewhere. Okay. Right. I want to put some dimensionals on. I'm going to use all the outside bits on the back of this. And I'm aware I've just put all the sequins on there, so I'm going to be a little bit more gentle, just tip it over and do it up in the air, I think. Which is a little bit more difficult, but never mind. We'll get there. Just bits down the side. Waste not, want not. And some in the middle. Don't want to waste any of it. Just get that odd one lovely there. And one there. Okay. So for sure I should have put the sequins on after. I'm not sure why I did that, but there you go. Still easy enough to get them all off, it just takes a little bit longer. Don't want that bit showing over there. That's it. So bring in our card blank. And then we pop our card on. So you just want to equal border top and bottom and either side. And you're done. And that's it. How simple was that? Quite a pretty card. There you go. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the card and that you'll grab yourself some of that lovely paper when it comes out in January. You know, I've used stamping blends, but you could use pencils. I wouldn't use watercolour on there, but I would use watercolour pencils with our blending pens. You get 3 in a pack. That would work okay if you did it gently. But there you go. Anyway, thank you very much for watching and see you soon. Bye.